have sound?
Astronomical number, which is measured in light years, and expresses approximately what today's people believe to be the boundaries of the observable universe. The second number, also very huge, represents the overall global data consumption in mobile networks of the year 2021, in bytes. Maybe we won't feel any link between them by just looking in this way. Then, let's look at their development. After 6 years, according to the theory that light speed never changes and Hubble's law, the universe's boundary will evolve to this number. According to the forecast report of GSMA, global mobile data consumption in 2027 will reach about 3.6 times that in 2021. Then, we can conclude that the worldwide data consumption growth rate is much faster than the expansion speed of the entire universe. The rapid growth of data demand has driven our industry to develop. The universal space has a boundary. But where is the boundary of network development? Let's look back to history. In 1896, Marconi completed the transmission of the first wireless telegraph, breaking the boundary that people thought communication could be only through wireline. 1958, the invention of integrated circuits enabled computers to be small enough so that people could use the computer everywhere. 1966, Dr. Kao tried to use glass as optical fiber material, laying the foundation for today's long-distance transmission and breaking the boundary of the longest distance connection. 1968, ARPANET came out, breaking the boundary of single-site cooperation. 1986, the 1G network was commercialized, and public telecom services began to get rid of wire. 2000, the 3G network brought the public into the mobile multimedia era. In 2017, the publication of the first 5G standard marks that the boundaries of the digital world are about to be changed.
Okay, hello everybody. And are you ready for a 6G world? 5G is yet to be fully commercialized, and it certainly hasn't lived up to its potential yet. But that's okay, because we still have a lot of years to go of 5G commercialization. But 6G research is already underway, and 6G is due to be commercialized around 2030, which is going to make the 2030s an amazing decade. 6G is not just about faster networks. 6G's got the potential to change how we actually interact with the world around us. It's about integrating digital worlds with physical worlds. Of course, it's about the evolution of wireless connectivity. We're going to adopt terahertz waves. We're going to use visible light communication. We're going to walk around our homes, and data is going to be streamed from our light bulbs to our devices. We're going to see the emergence of new devices and device types. And I would even go as far as to say, as the smartphone that we all use and love today is probably a dying device. It's not going to be the primary communication device of the future. We're going to have new circuits and chipsets embedded in things like clothes, like in shoes. Imagining walking into a shop buying a new pair of trainers that are made by some awesome new material. It's got an embedded chipset that works using kinetic energy, charging while you're moving. And you can open an app on your device and you can change the colors of your shoes or even change the patterns of your shoes. 6G will drive distributed computing even further. The networks today are very centralized. We use a lot of centralized computing. That's all going to change. And of course, we're going to see the emergence of a lot more applications. But it's a lot more than that. I think the vision for 5G is one of a near-instant, ubiquitous connectivity. It's about new ways of leveraging data, leverage compute, and leverage communication in order to further integrate our societies. They're going to be immersive, holographic, and it's going to be the foundation for extended reality. Imagine meeting in a 6G virtual world is going to be just like meeting in person. Gone is going to be the day of cartoonish internet avatars, and actually in the virtual world there's going to be a representation of us. We're going to be able to see facial expressions, micro expressions, muscle movements. So meeting in the virtual world, in the 6G world, is going to be just like being here today. But 6G goes way beyond just communication. Distributed 6G networks are going to be neural networks. We're going to connect tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of endpoints, all with some sort of computing capability. And also 6G is going to give us the opportunity to do something great. I think the evolution of 5G and the emergence of 6G, one of the things that we need to focus on is connecting people. Today, there's about 2.7 billion people in the world that's never ever been connected. And even more that has a very poor connectivity or even just have a connectivity through a shared device. If we can connect these people and if we can put all the knowledge that exists on the internet into people's hands, imagine the increase in human capital that we can achieve as a society. How many more scientists, engineers, software developers, artists are we able to create by connecting the world? I mean, thinking about that, that is the real power of connectivity. The road ahead is going to be an interesting one. There's going to be a lot of trials, a lot of errors. We're going to have some failures, but we're also going to have a lot of success. And by 2030, we've laid the foundation for the cities of the future. We're going to have technologies that will defy the laws of physics. I know, sounds controversial, but one of the things that is a challenge when you work with wireless communications is radio waves and radio wave propagation. So we need to come up with technologies that could circumvent that. And good news is we're already working on it. We're working on things like reconfigurable interactive surfaces, using new 2D metamaterials, new processes, etc., to create what's essentially mirrors for radio waves. Remember when you were a child and you were playing around with the sound, you might have a key or a mirror or a glass bottle, and you would steer the sunbeams into your friend's face to make them not be able to see. So we're going to do the same with radio waves. We're going to use these interactive surfaces to steer radio waves around objects, over objects, but also through objects, by using things like completely transparent substrates and having materials so thin, just like you have on the windscreen of your car. You can see through them, but we're going to take radio waves and we're going to move them inside buildings. So we're going to solve this propagation issue. So we're going to take advantage of millimeter waves and terahertz waves. Networks are also going to be sensing. So we're going to use radio networks of the future to sense the environment. For example, if you fly a drone, we're going to be able to use radio networks to detect that drone. We're going to be able to see where it's going, how fast it's going, what's the altitude, even maybe calculate the mass. And by doing that, radio networks, or the 6G networks of the future, will be aware of its surroundings. We will also be able to offload mundane, boring tasks to machines, so we can really focus on what we are good at, which is creative problem solving and strategic thinking, to really further development of society. Any new technology also needs to have a positive social and environmental impact. And in the 6G research, we are really from day one trying to figure out not just how to make this technology more efficient, but even more how we're going to use this technology in the future to decarbonize the planet, decarbonize industries, drive climate change. So I will ask you this. Those of you here today that works in the world of atoms and molecules, in science, why don't you come and join us who works with ones and zeros, software development, hardware engineering. And together we can create a better future. We can create a 6G world. Thank you.